Hello and welcome to the first of my narrated rolling. I thought it would be helpful for some of the students here to pick up on tips. I thought I'd feature this one. This is the last roll that I have with Jason. Every week I roll with Jason and Gosia, twice a week, and we have an hour of just solid rolling 3 minutes ago. This is the last one, so as you can see, I'm pretty knackered by then. We've already had about 8 or 9 rolls, 3-minute rolls, so maybe more. So I know I don't quite. So I thought I'd show this one because it's a very good test of my defense and escaping technique. Because by then I've got no energy to really attack with vigor like I do at the beginning of a round. So here we go. Let's have a look. So we go. We grip up. And I'm determined to try and stay up as much as I can, maybe go for some foot sweeps, but eventually I pull guard. Now Jason's very good at passing my guard. Notice he's already trying to grab my knee line and control the upper half. So if he can flatten me out when my head goes to the ground, then it's easier to do like a bullfighter style pass. I know that's coming, so I notice how I extend my foot and keep it on his hip. Alright, if I can keep him away from me, then it delays the inevitable, or rather not inevitable, but it makes his passing much harder. So we'll carry on. I grab a collar, which probably isn't the best thing to do, because I figure, well, I'm pretty strong with that hip control. Let me try and control his upper body. But as you can see, he double guard pulls. Okay, that's fine. Now that was a nice trick. Jason does like to drop back and look like he's pulling a guard, so we end up in a sort of double guard pull position, but that's a ruse on his behalf. He normally stays down here, but here he sits back down, and I'm thinking, oh great, we can play a little 50-50, maybe some footlocks. But that's not the case. So watch how he pops up again and passes my guard. It's a nice little trick to use, actually. You do, because he popped down, he does lose points, because it looks like I swept him, so I think the referee would have given me sweep points. Alright, so bear that in mind if you choose to do that action. Now he comes up on his knees and he smashes my knees. Can you see one of the tenets of guard passing is to keep your opponent's knees together? So he's passing, he's weaving his shin through, which pins my leg down, which means I can't invert fully. I'm trying to invert and get some sort of sweep on him. Okay, so he still keeps an underhook on my leg there. Now he's reaching for upper body control. He moves his hips around now. I know this is coming. I know he's passing my guard. It could be disaster. There's two things that he wants. He wants to get my back flat on the ground, and he wants to get his legs all the way around. Alright, if you know those two things are coming, if you can stop one of them, then you can re-guard. Alright, so my aim is now to get one of my feet in between his legs. So watch what happens. So he's trying to work his way around. He's quickly around. No, there. Let's go back. So, as you can see, upper body control, moving his hips around. The moment he moves his hips around just that little bit more, I can get my just one foot in. That's all I need for a hook, and then I can re-guard. So here we go, and I'm loose. So I swing my leg underneath, and now that I have one leg underneath, I have a hope in hell of getting my guard back. So here we go, there. So lift him up. He still has a little bit of upper body control, but now I'm getting both knees in. Now he's sort of got this sort of weird modified mount position. But remember, I have a shin and knee here, so I have you only have to have one hook in, and you have a hope of getting your composure back, or some sort. Also, notice I'm on my side. I'm starting to use the Preet method of defending myself. And I believe I'm trying to do some sort of modified hawking position. More on that later. Here we go. I'm tucking my knees in, getting my shin in, which allows me to lever him apart, lever his mount apart. And now he doesn't have mount anymore. Here we go. And my aim now is to swing my leg that way, so that in a way I could sweep him or at least escape. The other way is I could probably try and turtle, but this leg is trapped. What he's trying to do is attack and get my belly flat on the ground so that I'm not able to turtle or defend myself. Let's see what happens. I'm trying to work a triangle here, so I'm defending my neck. Now, it's very irritating for him to have my foot here. He can't really control my hip line, and I always have a get out clause. Still trying to defend my neck here and here. So now I'm turning, and that again, that's irritating for him because it takes away the power that he can have in terms of control over my head and trying to strangle me with some sort of Ezekiel or collar-based strangle. There. Now I extend my leg and I'm regarding. Here. So we're back to the classic passer versus guard player. I've got one collar grip. I don't really have anything else. I think I've got a nice hip control on that leg. But again, Jason could just do the same thing. He can choose to sit down and trick me into playing a double guard pull, or he can run around. And let's see what Jason does. And notice his control over my knee again. It's the same pattern. And it's very effective. It's a good way to, if you want to learn how to pass an open guard, that's a very good way to do it. Pinning my knee down, running round to the back. Now, this is where things could get tricky. I'm very aware that he is about to pass my guard. Now, my back is not flat on the ground. He'll get an advantage for passing my guard, but he hasn't quite completed his move. He needs to get my back flat and me stable. Me, obviously, at the same thing, I'm not trying to get my back flat on the ground. The problem is that he's pinning my knee to the ground, so it's very hard to shrimp in the traditional way. So all I can do is just aim to keep on my side. And this is where a modified hawking position would help. Switching to a baby bridge. Let's see how I use that. So I'm curling, I'm trying to keep my elbow down so he's avoiding any underhooks. I'm not worried about my neck at the moment. And also I'm trapping his hand. Now there's a purpose to that. When a passer inserts their hand between your legs, he's trying to control my legs and control my hip line. But at the same time he exposes his sleeve, so if I grip onto that, notice I'm using two hands to grip very tightly onto that, and I'm using some sort of almost like a modified baby bridge by extending my spine. So I'm not curling here, I'm arching backwards. The purpose of this grip is to stretch him out. Now I know he's going to try and attack me with this arm here. He's going to reach around and try and grab some sort of collar, lapel, or he's going to push my head. In Nogi, he would be trying to grip around my chin. All these things are designed to stretch me out, flatten me, and attack me. So I'm aware of that, but by stretching him out, it makes his job harder. So you see what he's doing? Yeah, he's trying to reach for lapels, maybe trying to try a cheeky choke, trying to make me forget about the grip, but I'm not giving up that grip. And it's not effective. You see how he's so stretched out, he can't really apply any force. So he's moving his body position, using his legs, but again, it's not really doing anything. It's a bit of a threat, so I do let go of one grip and pop it over, because I don't want him to dig his heel into my jaw. So he's trying to flatten me there. Can you see he's trying to flatten me? If I'm flat, it's game over for me. I was momentarily flat, and I just sort of swing my legs back round again. Now here I'm in trouble. There's that much distance between my shoulder and the ground. But you see this knee is saving me. Connected to my knee is my foot, and I'm planting my foot very strongly onto the ground. I'm trying to get into a hawking position, but he won't let me curl in this direction. So instead I arch backwards, and the arching makes my back line, my spine, very strong, so he cannot flatten me, and by not flattening me he cannot get what he wants, which is good side control. Almost there. He's trying to push me down. I'm not worried. Look at that knee pushing down on the ground, really arching my back, and then from here I can bust out. So I'm in a modified running man position here. Notice the leg switch here. You can see my foot there. I've switched my legs over, which is running man. Ideally, I'd like to get my head on the ground, touching the ground, my forehead touching the ground, but it's not possible because look at his crossface here. Doesn't matter. I'm still in a strong position. If you look at his shoulder line and my shoulder line, they're in a direct line here, which means I'm strong here. I've made a direct connection to the ground. Still, it's not a great position, and I want to get out. This is how I do it. I want to turtle. See, he's giving me space to turtle. So now I turtle. I feel safe from turtle. Yes, I'm giving up an advantage because he is attacking and I'm just defending. But from turtle, I know I'm pretty robust. I'm pretty strong. I'm covering the elbows. There's no underhooks there. And in a minute, you'll see what I do with my hand position. Here. Notice the hand position. We'll play a little bit more. There. That sort of curled hand position where my palms are facing outwards. Through many months of training, Jason knows there's no point trying to go for a lapel grab or trying to reach around for a rear naked choke or anything, because I'm just going to catch his hand. And that's the purpose of this position. It's a block and a grab. It's a hand grab, which prevents any upper body control. So instead, he has pulled me upright. Now look at his posture. His weight is completely off me. I can move my head up, and from here I can burst out. Okay, we'll just go back a second and show you that sequence again. So when you're in turtle, the tip that I always use for turtle is that there's really only two places he can pin me. He can either pin me on my shoulders or pin me on my hip line. When he pins me on my shoulders, I just keep my head to the ground, and in theory I could move my legs around and my hips around. But I don't really feel under any threat, but it just means I can't really move that well. The moment he moves and switches and gets bored, because I'm defending so well here, onto my hip line, I can pop my head up. Now the purpose of popping my head up is a bit like a sprinter on the starting blocks from that number 2 position when the person counts on you're ready, gets that marks, go. I can burst out like a sprinter and then either escape or re-guard or invert or do a number of things. So watch how I do that. So his attacks are foiled from the top, so he's working on me. He's trying to pull me up, which actually is what I want. But I'm under control here, so I'm using a lot of core strength to try and just resist, and then when I feel ready, when he's sort of giving up and his weight is completely off me, I burst out, and that was my burst. I'm also, so you can't just burst out just like that. There should be something you need to get hold of. In this case, I'm using my opposite leg to insert my shin onto his elbow, and I'm gripping strongly on his sleeve. This creates a twisted imbalance on him, so he finds it hard to pass my guard or progress further. So I'm in a good sweeping position or re-guarding position. Let's see what happens. I'm pressuring on that elbow. I'm really trying to make life awkward for him. Again, that sleeve grip from the opposite side, my opposite sleeve grip. I like that a lot. I use it a lot. It really annoys the opposition and stops them dominating you. So again, he's trying to flatten me. He's trying to do something where I'm in a position where he can attack nicely. Gets the leg over, and I think, well, there might be a footlock here. Let's work around for a footlock. Yeah, just a cheeky footlock. I'm pretty handy with my footlocks. In the case, let's go back. This is a very interesting point. So from this weird opposite sleeve grip with shin in the elbow, it makes it very hard for him to pass around this side. I just follow him around. So the instinct for the opponent is to move around this side, but they're limited in how much movement they have because of this grip. So he's kind of stuck there in this no man's land, and all I'm looking for is a little bit of space to work a guard. But in this case, I don't actually pull guard. He sort of falls backwards, and that gives me the in a way he pulls me into a guard passing position. So I've actually just swept him here, even though it looks like he just fell down. This counts as a sweep, so he's in a guard, butterfly guard, and there, he falls over. I would get the sweep points for that. Now he's trying to re-guard here, but I'm obviously aware of that, and I'm just trying to foil that. And I want to get up on, so I'm in base here, standing up in base. So I want to try and stand up and pass his guard. Time runs out. So, but what I would have done is standing up in base, technical stand up, and try and get rid of that right leg, and then and then it would be my turn to try and pass guard. I want to pass guard and work side control. Anyway, that is my first narrated roll. It's a bit long, but there's a lot to cover. In future, when I narrate rolls, I'll probably just call the names out and say, rather than explain the whys, just tell you. And more of that later. Thank you.